abusia mi channel sanso mu akwaba so nko so enfa channel so hada so ye be media GH abusia ene eya dia parliament enya asem ketewa confusion pa between the minority and the majority abusia eya dia asemani na efa eye the vetting of our acting chief justice Baffoe Vetting abusia se be veti papa ya approve no aba be ye eye the chief justice of eye Ghana abusia the minority say omo entiase ne entiase ochina na echese wutie ensem ene niema ekoso ewo eye parliament abusia e ka tumamento na de ensem ena abusia eye speaker Baben edi atuja we de mam kasa wa mam kasa de pese ekọ kokotie ne esiye ewo eye parliament abusia esewani na ensese meka ekirew yenko ne ntie ensem a esi ewo ho hada so ebe media GH bomodi aso be subscribe be like na wabo aso ahia for person bi atie no enya bi entie yenti ensem ekoso the minority omocho mo nsem a sebema kwan pa ama eye Baffoe Vetting aba be the chief justice of my Ghana de tise bia the minority no tise bi omo ina wu ba say omo eti nkomu pa chese omo gino mo na so enye possible abusia yeti ensem no makase nche mo na say how say be media GH yeah that's it.
Nominee Paul Baffoe Vetting will happen after all. That's because Speaker Babing's ruling, but not before a heated debate among leadership of the majority and minority caucuses. We want to show you excerpts of the exchange of words and how it all played out in Parliament today. Take a look.
Rather than we being threatened by the chief whip of the majority that vetting will happen with all his might, we are not dealing with might. That vetting will not happen. It will not happen. You must follow due process. Follow the law. Do the right thing. We, the minority, will not shut our mouth. You can follow due process. That's all.
Mr. Speaker, for us to adopt this business statement, we are going to take a decision. And to take that decision means we need 138 members of parliament present to do that. And we don't have. At the moment, we are 108 in this chamber. So for that matter, Mr. Speaker, we cannot adopt the business statement. Mr. Speaker, we cannot adopt the business statement at the moment. We cannot take that decision.
You've not done it. You can't hold that to ransom. Mr. Speaker, I'm a minister responsible for local government, chieftaincy, and religious affairs. From 2 o'clock, I'm sitting here debating business statement. On that note, Mr. Speaker, so long as there's no motion before you, just move forward. Let's adopt the report.
Honorable Asafwaje, if your leaders are asking you to sit down, please resume your seat. Why? At least if your whips are asking you to resume your seat, resume your seat. If you won't listen to me, listen to your whips.
Speaker, the minority membership
Honorable members, if things continue this way, I will not hesitate to invoke the rules by calling on you to either walk out. If you refuse, I would invite the marshal to walk you out.
Well, let's put all of this into proper context. Our Christian Yard, it was there, now joins me here in the studio with that much-needed context. Christian, again, thank you so much for covering Parliament. You always do this so well and effortlessly. But put all the pieces together for us. What are we looking at?
Kems, we know that the, let's say, removed Chief Justice has a number of court cases that are currently pending. Now, few of them, there is one that even borders on constitutional interpretation, one that she is asking that if she is even removed as a Chief Justice, she still has that right to remain on the Supreme Court bench, which case is at the High Court. We even know that the learned Attorney General asked that that case be transmitted to the Supreme Court because of the constitutional issue that is involved. There is another in which she asks that, if anything at all, the processes that led to her removal are questionable. Here, she questions the Justice Puaman Committee's work. Now, over the period, we've had the minority, even before Parliament resumed from recess, question the work of the Puaman Committee, and among many other things, make a case that their work was unconstitutional, for which reason they believe that, if anything at all, there must be that thorough engagement to more or less ascertain whether the removal process was right at all. We know also that the removed Chief Justice is currently at the ECOWAS court as well. So the minority leader over the period has made the case that, if anything at all, there should be that time for the respective court, i.e. the High Court. You also have the ECOWAS court. Consider at least these 6 pending cases before Parliament could proceed. They then went ahead to submit what you call the motion to the office of the Speaker, asking the Speaker to, as a matter of urgency, halt all processes leading to the vetting of Justice Paul Baffoe, which is scheduled to take place this Monday coming. And so today, he just reiterated that same point, that if anything at all, Parliament must take its hands off the vetting processes until all of these cases have been decided. So this has been the context.
But the majority side holds a different view.
Certainly.
What are they saying?
Because, I mean, when you listen to the majority leader, Mahama Yarega, he is of the view that, per what the Constitution says, Parliament is an arm of government that stands on its own, and then you have the judiciary, where the Supreme Court, the High Court, and the rest fall under. Per the Constitution, Parliament cannot be made to suspend its decision or its action because another arm of government has to deal with a particular case. And in this case, Mahama Yarega makes the case that until there is that order from the Supreme Court injuncting or restraining Parliament from going ahead to, vet the Supreme Court or the Chief Justice nominee, the minority leader has no right in basing his argument on the pending cases to say that Parliament should wait until another arm of government, which is the case that the Speaker himself also makes, for which reason he bases his argument to rule out the motion that is, asking him to halt or stop the vetting process until all of these court cases have been decided. The minority leader says that, see, the removed Chief Justice is a citizen. She reserves all the rights to fair hearing. So you cannot seek to corner her just like that and install a new Chief Justice when her case or cases have not been decided. That's the context to all of the drama that we are seeing. That
took place today in Parliament. But eventually, Speaker Bagbin had the final word on this debate.
And he wasn't even around when all of this started. Ordinarily, every Friday you have the business statement delivered to give a fair idea of how businesses in the House are going to unfold in the ensuing week. After that, members have the opportunity to debate or make commentaries. That is when all of this started unfolding. At that moment, and just as we saw in that clip play earlier, the first Deputy Speaker, Bernard Ahiafo, was presiding. The Speaker, per his own narration, was observing all the drama as it unfolded in the House, and later came to deliver a ruling. And which ruling is basically what I had earlier summarized, which was earlier echoed by the majority leader, that after he had reviewed the motion that was dropped at his office, looked at the text, looked at the merit and demerit of it thereof, he decided, and also looking at the standing orders and what the Constitution says, decided that that motion was inadmissible. He couldn't have admitted that motion, for which reason, and just as the standing orders indicate, had to transmit it back to the sponsor of the motion, which is the minority leader, and so that ends it.
I mean, but so what were the reactions post the Speaker's ruling?
You can guess it, Kems. You can guess it because the minority is hell-bent on that. And very shortly, I mean, even just some few moments before we came on set, we have had that new petition which they have sent to the president. You know, somewhere around 6th October, there is one individual who sent a petition to the president asking that the appointed Chief Justice, Justice Paul Baffoe Vetting, be removed from office, and they are making some claims, grounds of stated misbehavior.
Right.
Now, just today, after that, which happened in Parliament, they've written to the president asking
for information.
An update, yes, and that right to information.
I see. Monday is going to be a very interesting day.
Very, very interesting.
Thank you.
But Kems, probably we can hear from the Speaker, deliver his ruling, and what exactly he says, for which reason he has dismissed this motion. It means that the vetting happens by all means.
Indeed, we will. And thank you so much for bringing us the update. Let's take a listen to Speaker now.
I have considered deeply the proposed motion. I considered the text, and I concluded that there was no basis for me to exercise the discretion to admit the motion. I have a copy of the proposed motion here. The motion, in summary, suggests that Parliament, as an arm of state, should stay its hand until another cognate arm of state takes action on a matter pending before it, even when there is no definite time for that arm of state to take the action. I find this suggestion constitutionally and procedurally unsustainable. Article 144, Clause 1 of the 1992 Constitution gives Parliament a clear and continuing duty to consider a president nomination for Chief Justice. That duty is not conditional on events elsewhere. I'm of the view that courts can continue to hear whatever matters are pending before them, but until there is an injunctive order, Parliament's authority remains intact. Judicial independence should not mean legislative paralysis. In any case, I have consistently questioned whether the Supreme Court could use its injunctive reliefs to stultify the work of another arm of state. I have considered the provisions on admissibility of motion, and I submit that the proposed motion is out of order. The motion is inadmissible, and same has been returned to the sponsor, the minority leader, Honorable Alexander Afenyo Markin, as stated clearly by outstanding orders. I thank you all for your attention.
So it was after this ruling that we are also learning about that petition to the presidency to release information of any updates or sort on those petitions against the or for the removal or investigation into the acting Chief Justice, Paul Baffoe Vetting. For emphasis, I want us to go over that letter that has gone to the presidency. Let's take a look at it. This letter seems to have been authored by the Honourable Member of Parliament for Wejagbawe, who is also the second Deputy Minority Whip, Jerry Ahmed Shaib. He talks about how whether or not Your Excellency, referring to the President, obviously, has referred this matter to the Council of State. The matter in question here is that petition by a Ghanaian citizen to the President over some misconduct, alleged misconduct, the acting Chief Justice, who will be vetted on Monday, has done, so to speak, right? And so he's asking the President whether or not this matter has been referred to the Council of State in accordance with the laid-down procedure. Now, we've been through this before because we've just removed the Chief Justice from office. We went through this entire process. And Jerry Ahmed Shaibu is also asking the President whether or not any actions have been taken or any decisions have been made by the Council of State in dealing with this matter. Essentially, they're asking, what have you done since you received the petition? And that's that one big question that the second Deputy Minority Whip, Honourable Member of Parliament for Wejagbawe, Jerry Ahmed Shaib, is asking of the executive. Now, those are questions I cannot answer. Hopefully, there will be some answers from the quarters of the executive. But what I can do now is ask some more questions. David Abdullah is a governance expert. He's joined us on the matter of this vetting process, to do or not to do, the Speaker rules that we will do, but the minority places last hand, which is to ask for updates on that petition. David, thank you so much for joining us here, Prof.
The NIMOS situation. What happened to the NIMOS people? Then this time around, EP certainly, and in both situations, we were told that people were having guns, which means more or less Galamsey areas have become war zones, whether you like it or not. Once people are wielding guns and they are prepared to shoot, then more or less we are having a very serious situation on our hand. You see, I was asking myself a question when Prof was speaking. When she said, the EPA, we don't have guns. We had a few soldiers with guns, others were not having guns. I was asking myself, what kind of operation intelligence gathering went into this exercise? Because if you know you're going to go to areas like that, and we know that when it comes to Galamsey, people would want to resist, people would want to come out with guns and all that. Why is it that EPA had to go in isolation? Because I was thinking that EPA was working together with NIMOS. And therefore, when you are approaching such situation, you should be well equipped because you should anticipate. I mean, they
had national security with them. They also had soldiers who were armed as well. But the soldiers were armed.
But from what she said, I mean, they were not enough to
They were outnumbered, so they estimated the.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That what kind of pre-operation intelligence gathering went into this, because it is important that whenever you are approaching such things, you prepare. Because we don't have to joke with this situation now. I think it's getting out of hand. The fact that now they would want to attack, now they attacked military officers, they are attacking EPA, the next person, the next group of people they are going to attack, we don't know. And so I believe that from the way things are going, you see, personally, I have this solution. People cannot do Galamsey without excavators. Excavators cannot be hidden easily. So the first thing we need to do is to make sure we get into our forests, water bodies, get every excavator, whether it is said it is said, or they are saying it's going to be used for construction, whatever. Let's gather all excavators from these areas. That's the first, because there's no way they can mine or can do Galamsey without excavator. So let's target the excavators first. Now let's stop importation of excavators. Then let's also seize
mercury too.
Yes, and let's also seize excavators moving from Accra to the hinterlands. If you're able to get all the excavators out of the place, I mean, what are they going to do? They can't use cutlasses and hoes to do Galamsey. So we need to target those equipment first. And I believe the way things are going, you should be bold enough to suspend, if it becomes possible, I'm not a lawyer, if we are to suspend a portion of the Constitution to be able to solve this problem, we need to do it. Because this is a serious issue. They are killing us slowly. They are poisoning us slowly. Now they are fighting us. They are confronting us physically. So what are we doing as a nation? I believe that if we really we want to solve this problem, if it becomes possible, I said this here some time ago, if it becomes possible, we need to suspend portion of the constitution to deal with this issue, declare a state of emergency and deal with this issue. If those areas, because of elections, let me bring in this point. You see, these people, they know politicians